Welcome back, everyone, to today's Masterclass Explainer. We are diving right into a word that gets thrown around a lot these days, and that's sustainability. But we're going to take a highly integrated academic approach here. We're going way beyond just basic environmentalism to really unpack the architecture of a society that can literally maintain itself across generations. So let's get into it. Here's our agenda for today. First, we'll define true sustainability. Then we'll map out the 3 pillars model. After that, we're going to break down each of those pillars. Pillar 1 being social, Pillar 2 environmental, and Pillar 3 economic. Finally, we'll wrap it all up by looking at the integrated approach. All right, Section 1, defining true sustainability and its 4 prerequisites. So what does a sustainable world actually require as a baseline? Well, for the world to be truly sustainable, we have 4 core principles that basically set our boundaries. First up, we absolutely have to reduce our dependence on fossil fuels. Second, we need to reduce our dependence on artificial substances. Third, we've got to reduce our encroachment upon nature. And fourth, and this is just as crucial as the others, we have to meet human needs fairly and efficiently. It's really all about striking that perfect balance, actively meeting human needs in an equitable way while minimizing our harm to the planet. Moving on to Section 2, the 3 pillars model. Let's see how we take those abstract rules we just talked about and build them into a concrete structural model. This interconnected diagram brilliantly illustrates our entire theoretical framework. We have 3 main spheres here: social, environmental, and economic. But honestly, the real magic happens right in the intersections. Look at the socioeconomic zone on the left. This is where things like employment, training, local economy, and entrepreneurship live. Now, check out the bottom intersection, the eco-economy zone. This area is all about resource efficiency, energy efficiency, reuse, and recycling. And finally, over on the right, the socio-environmental zone covers crucial things like health and safety, climate change, and crisis management. True sustainability? It sits right there in the dead center, where all 3 of these spheres overlap. As the core concept says, sustainability is an integrated approach. Think about it. If you focus only on the economy and the environment, you end up neglecting human rights and diversity. If you focus solely on social and environmental issues, well, you might not have the profitable growth or the risk management you need to actually fund your society. If any one of these 3 overlapping elements is ignored, the center simply cannot hold, and the whole system collapses. It's a house of cards. That brings us to Section 3, Pillar 1, social sustainability. For this first pillar, we're focusing strictly on the human element. To ensure a society is socially sustainable, basic human needs absolutely must be met, and they have to be monitored. We're talking about alleviating poverty, providing adequate healthcare and safety, and ensuring proper sanitation. It also means guaranteeing food security, affordable shelter, and clean drinking water. Obviously, a society simply cannot be sustainable if vast sections of its population are fighting every single day just to survive. But, just surviving isn't enough. True social sustainability requires higher-level empowerment. We need to provide basic education to everyone, no exceptions. We must ensure the rigorous protection of human rights. And on top of that, policies have to be in place that allow people to actually improve their social status through active stakeholder participation. Sustainability really means empowering individuals to lift themselves up and participate meaningfully in their communities. Let's turn to Section 4, Pillar 2, environmental sustainability. This is all about the rigorous protection, management, and optimization of our natural world. Ensuring environmental sustainability requires what's essentially a 2-pronged approach. On one hand, we have defensive actions. This means actively minimizing water, solid waste, and noise pollution. On the other hand, we need offensive actions, like actively tapping into renewable resources. Think solar, wind, and tidal power. It isn't enough to just pollute less anymore. We have to actively transition the very engines of our society over to sustainable fuel sources. Now, beyond just pollution and power, some broader societal steps are required here. We need the optimum utilization of our natural resources. We have to popularize public transport systems to really drive down those emissions. Essentially, at a high level, every single developmental activity has to be planned with the ultimate goal of maintaining environmental quality and ecological balance. And crucially, we have to create awareness about these environmental problems among the general public. Top-down policies, they only work if the public is educated and engaged enough to actually participate in environmental improvement programs. And, well, when public motivation just isn't enough, regulation has to step in. The source material is very explicit here. Existing laws protecting our environment should be made much more stringent. Plus, the principle of PPP, that's the polluter pays principle, must be strictly enforced. Financial accountability isn't just a nice to have, it's a mandatory component of the environmental pillar.
All right, Section 5, Pillar 3, Economic Sustainability. How exactly must our financial and industrial systems adapt to support those first two pillars?
Economic sustainability in industry requires some immense strategic discipline. It all starts with the optimum use of raw materials, and it requires making right-time investments for industrial expansion. We also really need to see industries creating value-added products right alongside their real products to maximize their output efficiency. But perhaps most crucially, proper research and development activities must be carried out. We have to heavily fund R&D to adopt production techniques that are simultaneously eco-friendly and economically viable.
Now, what's really fascinating to me is how economic sustainability ties right back into human well-being. It's not just about corporate profits. The economy has to maintain a steady flow of income to workers to ensure their quality of life. Furthermore, economic levers should be used to guide behavior. This means giving incentives for green business projects that cause little to no harm to the environment. Inside the workplace, we need to create awareness among workers about eco-friendly practices, and they should be motivated to work more efficiently through specific, targeted incentives. Ultimately, the economy becomes the engine that drives both social stability and environmental protection. And finally, Section 6, the integrated approach. Let's bring all these concepts together and synthesize what we've learned to wrap up this explainer.
This summary table beautifully visualizes the entire integrated system. Under the social pillar, we see the absolute necessity of meeting basic needs, protecting human rights, and providing education. Looking at the environmental pillar, the focus shifts to tapping renewables, actively reducing pollution, and enforcing stringent laws. And over in the economic pillar, we require optimized R&D, steady worker income, and powerful green incentives. When you lay them all out side by side like this, it becomes glaringly obvious. You cannot achieve one without the other two supporting it. They are literally interconnected gears, operating within the exact same machine.
So, I want to leave you with a final thought to take away from our explainer today. Which of these three pillars, social, environmental, or economic, is the weakest in your own community? And by applying this integrated academic framework we just went over, what specific measures will you take to strengthen it? Remember, sustainability isn't just some textbook theory. It's a daily, active practice. Thanks for watching, and keep learning.